My parents wrote me out of their will and replaced me with their golden child. So I did something they never saw coming. I sent them a bill, and trust me, they paid every single cent. Growing up, I always knew I wasn't the favorite. My brother Daniel could do no wrong. He got straight A's without trying, won every award at school, and my parents treated him like he was destined for greatness. Me? I was just there, the backup kid, the one who existed to make Daniel look even better. But I never thought they'd actually erase me from their lives. I never thought they'd go that far, until they did. It started when I was 19. I was finishing up my first year of community college, working 2 part-time jobs to pay for my classes because my parents said they couldn't afford to help me. Meanwhile, Daniel was at a fancy private university 3 states away, living in a nice apartment they paid for, driving a car they bought him, and getting an allowance every month. But that was normal in our house. Daniel got everything. I got excuses. Then one day, my mom called me. She sounded nervous, which was weird because my mom never sounded nervous. She was always confident, always sure of herself, especially when it came to Daniel. She asked me to come over for dinner that weekend. Said it was important. Said the whole family needed to talk. I should have known something was wrong right then, but I went anyway. When I got there, my dad was sitting at the head of the table like always. Daniel was there too, smiling that perfect smile of his. My mom kept fiddling with her napkin, and then my dad just came out and said it. They were taking me off the college fund. I stared at him. I didn't understand at first. There was no college fund for me. They told me years ago there wasn't enough money, that I'd have to figure it out on my own. But apparently, that was a lie. There was a fund. They just never planned to give me any of it. My dad explained it like he was talking about the weather. Calm, matter of fact. He said Daniel had a big opportunity. He was starting a business, something about tech consulting, and he needed capital to get it off the ground. They were giving him my portion of the fund to invest in his future. Because Daniel was going to be successful. Daniel was going to make something of himself. And what about me? My dad looked at me like I'd asked the dumbest question in the world. He said I was doing fine on my own. I had my jobs. I was figuring it out. I didn't need their help. I sat there in silence. My mom wouldn't even look at me. Daniel just kept smiling. That's when I realized the truth. I was never really part of this family. I was just the placeholder, the practice kid. And now that Daniel needed something, I didn't matter anymore. I left that night and didn't speak to them for weeks. But here's the thing. I wasn't just hurt. I was angry, and the more I thought about it, the angrier I got. Because this wasn't the first time they'd chosen Daniel over me. This was just the biggest, most obvious time. I started thinking about all the years I spent trying to earn their approval. All the times I helped them when they needed it, even though they never helped me. And there were a lot of times. When I was 16, my dad's car broke down. He didn't have the money to fix it right away. So I gave him $400 I'd saved from my summer job. He said he'd pay me back. He never did. When I was 17, my mom needed help paying for groceries 1 month because money was tight. I used my paycheck to cover it. She said she'd pay me back. She never did. When Daniel graduated high school, they threw him this huge party. They asked me to help pay for it because they were short on cash. I gave them $300. They never paid me back. Over the years, I covered their phone bills when they were late. I paid for gas when they were short. I bought groceries. I fixed things around the house. I even lent them money for a vacation once, because they said they deserved a break and Daniel really wanted to go. I never kept track of it before. I never thought I needed to. They were my parents. I thought that's just what you did. You helped your family. But now I realized I'd been funding their lives while they were planning to cut me out. So I started documenting everything. I went through old bank statements, old text messages, old emails. I wrote down every single expense I'd ever covered for them, every loan I gave them that they never paid back, every time I helped them out and got nothing in return. It took me weeks, but I built a spreadsheet. I listed every transaction, every date, every amount. And when I was done, the total came to just over $18,000. $18,000 I'd given them over the years. Money I earned working minimum wage jobs while going to school. Money I could have used for my own education, my own life. Money I earned working minimum wage jobs while going to school. Money I could have used for my own education, my own life. And they gave Daniel my college fund without even blinking. I didn't hear from my parents much after that dinner. They'd call every few weeks, acting like nothing happened. My mom would ask how school was going. My dad would mention something Daniel was doing, some new success story. They never apologized. They never even acknowledged what they'd done. Then, about 8 months later, my mom called me out of nowhere. She sounded different, stressed. She said they needed to talk. She said it was about Daniel. Apparently, his business wasn't going well. Actually, it was a disaster. He'd burned through the money in 6 months. Bad investments, bad decisions, and a lot of expensive mistakes. The business collapsed. He lost everything. And now my parents were in trouble too, because they hadn't just given him my portion of the fund. They'd taken out a loan against the house to give him even more, and now they couldn't pay it back. My mom was calling to ask if I could help. I almost laughed. I actually almost laughed right there on the phone, because of course they'd come to me now. Now that Daniel failed and they were desperate, suddenly I mattered again. But I didn't yell. I didn't get emotional. I just said I'd think about it. And then I sent them the invoice. I put it together that night. A detailed, professional-looking document with every single expense I'd covered for them over the years. Every loan, every bill, every cost. I even included interest, calculated at a modest 5% annual rate. Because why not? They wanted to treat me like a bank. I'd act like one. The total came to $22,000. I sent it to both of them in an email with a simple message. Here's what you owe me. Payment plans available. My dad called me an hour later. He was furious. He said I was being ridiculous, that family doesn't charge family, that I was being petty and cruel. He said I should be ashamed of myself. I told him I learned from the best. My mom tried a different approach. She cried. She said I was breaking her heart. She said she didn't raise me to be like this. She said Daniel made a mistake, and they were all suffering, and I was making it worse. I told her Daniel wasn't my problem, and neither were they. They didn't speak to me for a month after that. I figured that was it. I figured they'd just cut me off completely, and I'd never hear from them again. But then, something happened I didn't expect. They paid me, not all at once, but they set up a payment plan, $500 a month, directly deposited into my account. No calls, no emails, just payments. It took them almost 4 years, but they paid every single cent. I didn't keep the money. I know that probably sounds crazy after everything, but I didn't do this for the money. I did it to prove a point. I did it to show them that I wasn't going to be erased, that I wasn't going to let them treat me like I didn't matter. So when the last payment came through, I donated all of it, $22,000, to a scholarship fund for first-generation college students. Kids like me who had to fight for every opportunity because their families couldn't or wouldn't help them. My parents don't know. I never told them. And honestly, I don't care if they ever find out. I haven't spoken to them in over a year now. Daniel reached out once, trying to apologize, but I didn't respond. I don't have room in my life for people who only value me when they need something. I finished my degree. I got a good job. I built a life I'm proud of, and I did it without them. People ask me sometimes if I regret it, if I regret sending that invoice, if I regret cutting them off, and the answer is no. Not even a little bit, because here's what I learned. Dignity isn't about being nice. It's not about being the bigger person or letting things go. Sometimes dignity is about standing up and saying, you don't get to treat me like this. Sometimes dignity is about making people face what they've done. My parents wanted to replace me with their perfect son. They wanted to erase me like I never mattered, but I didn't let them. I made sure they remembered exactly what they lost, and that's worth more than any inheritance they could have left me. If you want to hear more stories like this, hit subscribe. 2. Retry.